Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the NFL coverage. I want to first apologize. Was out of town last week in a conference, so I wasn't able to do any pods. I didn't do the NBA, NFL, um, or the Guardian 615. But we are back and we are better. So we're just gonna skip the last week of the NFL since the wild card games just finished. So that also means it's gonna be pretty quick because we're just going playoff talk. But before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget there we go. Do not forget subscriber giveaway. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment on any video, and you will be entered for a chance to win $50 on the 1st and 15th of the month. So if you're watching this the day it drops on Wednesday, it's the 14th. So a winner will be chosen tomorrow. So make sure we're doing that for your chance to win. Also, if you want to support the pod, the ivfitness.com. We got workout programs. We still got the New Year special. It's going to be up for the remainder of the month. It's going to be up all of January. It's going to go down. It's going to be taken off once February hits. So take advantage of that. A free 30-day challenge. We got all kind of workout programs, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week. At-home stuff that requires no gym equipment. If you need something specific, fill out the coaching form. You have a specific schedule, some at home, some at the gym, dumbbells only, et cetera, et cetera. Send this bad boy off, and I can help you with getting a workout program. And then while you're here, again, supplements to pair with your workouts. Make sure you're getting your protein in, protein powders. We got vegan options as well. We got coffees and teas. We got pre-workouts. We got stuff for sleep, immune health, all of that good stuff, gut health, and all that good stuff. So go to finalformsubs.com for that. All right. Wild card. Let's talk about it. Okay. We'll just go through them one by one. So let's talk about Rams and Panthers. This actually ended up being a pretty exciting game. Let's see, does it have the app version of this is better. But the matchup, Panthers, Rams, again, Carolina Panthers at one point got up in the late in the fourth, and it looked like they were going to walk away with the dub, but they gave Matthew Stafford, my opinion, is the MVP, should win MVP. You look at from the totality of his season. And we all know Matthew Stafford, he is a veteran. He is arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, top 25 for sure quarterbacks of all time. Matthew Stafford is a vet. I think he has solidified himself as one of those guys, even though he's one of the older guys in the league. But as we can see, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, a rating of 23.8 or 93.8, 24-42, so just a little over 50%. Bryce Young, 264, touchdown, interception right there. So you can also kind of look at this is kind of the breakdown. This is the app I use. Again, if you guys kind of like this setup, it's called The Score. Download the app. The app is a lot more user-friendly. And I don't know if you guys can see. Oh, I have my background thing on. But it has the games broken down. But it breaks it down. And it also will show team stats and this and the third. We'll get into that when we get to the second round. Anyway, so as you can see, fourth down efficiency, 50% for the Rams, and Cardinals couldn't convert any of their fourth downs. Another big thing is the sacks, 2-1. And where is it at? So yeah, you can pretty much see here, it was a pretty even game. Passing yards, not too far off. Now the rushing yards was a pretty big difference for in the Rams. So as you can see here, Rams Williams 57 yards, Harbor 46. Obviously, those are the leading rushers. It's not for the team. And then Puka Noka again 111 yards, touchdown on 18 targets, and Jalen 12 targets, 134 and a touchdown. So if you're looking at a pretty evenly matched game, but the Rams come out on top, so they're going to advance to the next round. That's not where we're wanting to go at. Oh my gosh. This is why the app is better. than the web browser. Or wild card. We'll do it like this. Okay. Let's go to Packers Bears. Bears again, really tight game. Caleb Williams. It comes down to the fourth quarter for a drive. Caleb Williams gets the touchdown, and they were down a big. Oh my God, what was it? 21-3. I believe it was 21-3. Bears come back from that. Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers from start to finish played better. But the Chicago Bears definitely finished a lot stronger. Caleb Williams, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 interceptions. Jordan Love, 323, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. It came down to the defense for the Green Bay Packers, and they just couldn't hold on to the lead there at the end. And Green Bay, 67 yards and penalties, 7 penalties, 67 yards. The Chicago only had 2 penalties for 5 yards. So that is a huge difference. So the Bears win that one and they move on there. Now let's go to Bills Jaguars. Bills Jaguars. Again, as you can see, most of these games, besides Houston and Pittsburgh, most of these games were pretty close and came down to the fourth quarter. Chargers was a little iffy, but they still had a chance there in the third and fourth quarter, the second half. Bills, Jaguars. Again, Josh Allen stepping up. If there was a time for Josh Allen to win the Super Bowl, it is this year. You don't have to go through Lamar. You don't have to go through Patrick Mahomes. And you don't have to go through Joe Burrow, right? None of those teams made the playoffs. So this is the time for Josh Allen to get that Super Bowl or at least make it to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, because he doesn't have to go through the guys that he's normally been going through to get to the playoffs. He had to get through Joe Burrow the year they went to the Super Bowl, his second year in the league. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is in the AFC Championship damn near every season. Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen have always faced each other pretty much in the wild card every season, or at least the divisional game. So that's all. Yeah. So those have been the other 3 quarterbacks he's having to go against to make it. And those quarterbacks are in the, so this is the Bills' time to shine if they really want to do it. And they're starting off on the right foot. 273 for a touchdown, 207 for 3 touchdowns, put through 2 interceptions. Cook 46 and Travis with 67. As you can see here, fourth down, Buffalo was 2 for 2 on fourth down conversions. Penalties, Buffalo 39 yards, 7 penalties. Jacksonville had 2, but they really came down and finished the game, because Jacksonville more rushing yards, but in the passing yards, the Bills went out on top there, even though Jackson had more yards. But it came down to the fourth quarter, Josh Allen saying, hold my beer, and stepping up. Now, let's move to 49ers Eagles. Eagles just weren't clicking. 168 for a touchdown, and Birdie 262 for 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, Christian McCaffrey, he had 48 rushing yards, but he also had, can I go to individual? We'll pull this up on my phone then. Because Christian McCaffrey, if I remember correctly, also contributed receiving, I believe. Let me just pull it up. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey had 48 rushing yards, but he had 6 catches, 66 receiving yards for 2 touchdowns receiving. So again, Christian McCaffrey is the leading rusher and the leading receiver for the 49ers. So there's no surprise there. Swiss Army knife, made all-pro, all-purpose team for the NFL, which I also will go over that. So Eagles didn't get it done. Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy and Robinson, who had 111, I believe. Yes, 111 with a touchdown. Got it done. So defending champs are out of the playoffs. Chargers, Patriots. It's pretty much a defensive game. Chargers kind of, I don't want to say struggling, but no touchdowns for Herbert, 159, 19 of 31. Drake May, 268, touchdown, I believe. I think the interception was earlier in the game. Don't quote me on that, because I might be getting that mixed up with the Jacksonville, because I know Jacksonville's early in the game. But pretty low-scoring game. The New England Patriots defense pretty much is holding it down and getting that dub 16-3. So kind of no surprise there. The Chargers, again, Chargers are kind of in the same position that the Cincinnati Bengals are in terms of like their O-line is not very good. Receiving core is either banged up or they don't have the guys where they need them. And it's kind of just the quarterback having to play his best game week in, week out to get the dub. Like for example, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to play a perfect game for them to win because their defense was really good, and that's how they end up winning some of their games. Now, granted, it didn't pan out because of different injuries and Rice coming in later in the season, and things weren't clicking offensively. But Patrick Mahomes, besides this year, prior 10 years, he's needed to play a decent. Now he will play his best game, and when he does, they're unstoppable. But if he plays a decent game, they still have a chance to win. With Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and even Josh Allen, you can kind of throw in there, but Josh Allen does have help with the run game, and James Cook, who finished leading the league in rushing yards, still has help. But anyway, that's the Chargers. Let's move on to Monday night, Houston, Pittsburgh, not even close. Pittsburgh gets the loss, and Mike Tomlin steps down from coaching after 19 seasons in Pittsburgh. Kind of hate to see it, but they really haven't done much in recent years, even though he's never had a losing season. But we'll see how that goes. Aaron Rodgers, 146, 0 touchdowns, interception. CJ Stroud, 251-1. Now remember, Houston has the number one defense in the league. So that is going to be a huge factor moving forward for the Houston Texans and their playoff hopes. But 30-6, pretty straightforward there. Houston held Pittsburgh under 63 rushing yards, held them to that don't even make sense if he has 146 yards, but they only held him 112 passing. Anyway, that doesn't matter. So yeah, and then DK Metcalf 42, Christian Kirk 144. Okay, 144 yards and a tutty. Now, get rid of that. All right. So this is the full bracket, right? Broncos at the bye. Broncos, Bills, we got January 17th. Patriots, Texans, we got on the 18th. Over here in the NFC, Seahawks, 49ers, Bears, Rams. I think all four of these games are going to be competitive. All four of these games are going to be really good playoff football. Broncos, Bills. Again, Broncos has been the team to beat in the AFC. Can the Bills step up? Because again, Broncos have the top 5 defense in the league. Their offense they've got better. They're firing all cylinders now. Obviously, in the early season, they were struggle city a little bit. Patriots, kind of the same boat. Drake May, potential MVP, or if he doesn't, for sure, MVP runner-up. Texans, number one defense. You got an athletic quarterback. You got a pretty good receiving core, and you got a pretty good run game. There. Bears, Rams. Again, Bears at one point were number one in the NFC. Rams have the best quarterback in the league right now, and the front runner for MVP, as well as a solid run game, pretty good offense. And you're talking about a really good receiving tight end core. Seahawks, 49ers. You got Sam Darnold and the leading receiver in the league with Smith and Jigba. And then 49ers, you got Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and you got Robinson, and as well as Christian McCaffrey, who you can put anywhere to make a play. and get a touchdown, whether it's catching the ball or running the ball, right? So we have 4 really good games. Now, this is where I want to break it down divisional round. So let's go here. Bills are actually the favorite. Bills 1.5 point favorite right there. Okay. Now let's break it down. Bills offense. Again, Bills offense is really good. Like we said, Denver's offense is decent. Here's the difference maker. Denver's defense is top 5. It's 4th in the league. Now, Bills are no joke as well. They started to figure it out, even though they kind of had some ups and downs in the middle of the season. Buffalo Bills offense is top 5, and their defense is top 10. So you're looking at a top 10 defense, top 5 offense. So to me, it's going to come down to, can the Denver Broncos offense play better than where they're ranked? Again, the caveat, this is just yards per game. This is all the total defense. It's just, we're just looking at yards per game as your total defense. Is how it's ranked. So there's a lot of caveats here and there. Who you play also matters. Again, Denver's strength of schedule hasn't been as good, but it's just looking at total yards. So if you're a team that has really good special teams and you get good field position most of your possessions, and you don't have to go as many yards to score the ball, your total yards per game generally would probably be lower, more times than not on average. So you'd have a lower total yards per game, which means you have a lower total ranked offense, right? So there is some caveat to that, but in general, yards per game, they're 12th, and points per game 14th. So that's the 2 things you can kind of look at right there. Their points are 14th, and their yards per game. So like I said, the caveat with, if you have a good special teams and they get you in good field position, you have less yards, you can look at the points per game to kind of see, okay, are they still scoring points? Because then that could help. So if you look at both, again, middle of the pack for both. They're 14th in points per game, and yards per game, they're 12th. Again, middle of the pack offense. It comes down to Denver's offense. Can they step up? Buffalo's offense, again, rushing yards, they're 1st in the country. Points, they're tied for 4. So they score points, they put up yards, they run the ball. Passing, middle of the pack, but total yards, 3rd. Their defense, their passing defense, 1st. So Denver, they're going to have to throw the ball, right? Because their rushing offense is 16th. So they're going to have to run the ball, or they're going to have to pass the ball. Denver's not going to win off of just running the ball. Now, are they going to pass the ball against the number 1 passing defense in the league? That's why, to me, it comes down to, can Denver's offense come out, run the ball? Again, Buffalo's defense is 28th, so it's bottom of the league. So if you come out, start off running the ball to establish the run, force them to load the box, they open it up. Now you can get the pass going. That it's going to come down to Denver doing that. So it's Denver and Buffalo Bills, and I'm going to have to go. Okay. Now, let's go to San Francisco and Seahawks. Who's the favorite here? Who is it? Seahawks, 7-point favorite. I actually might take that underdog with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not going to lie. Now, let's break it down. Seahawks offense, 7th. 49ers offense, 8th. 2 top 10 offenses. Where's the difference maker? Seattle's defense is 5th. Top 5 defense. 49ers defense, 18th. Bottom of the middle of the pack. So what does that mean to me when I'm looking at this? It means it's going to come down San Francisco's defense, because that's the difference maker between these 2 teams looking at them, matchup-wise. So it's going to come down to San Francisco getting stops, getting off the field, and keeping their offense on the field. So it's going to come down to control the time of possession, and it's going to come down to keeping your offense on the field and turning that into points. San Francisco, they're 10th in points per game, so they can put up points at a pretty good rate. And obviously their passing is where their strong suit is. So they have to keep their offense on the field if I'm San Francisco, which is going to be hard because you're going to get a top 5 defense. And points per game, they're 1st, which means Seahawks gives up the least amount of points in the league. That is the problem. That's the problem. So it comes down to the defense getting off the field, and then it still kind of comes on the offense to stay on the field because Seahawks give up the least amount of points in the league. So That's that matchup there. Who's next? Houston Patriots. Patriots 3.5-point favorite. Now, New England, top 5 offense. New England, top 10 defense. Houston, number 1 defense. The difference maker right here, Houston's offense. Houston's offense is a difference maker. It's going to come down to Houston's offense. They're going to have to use C.J. Stroud's athletic ability. They're going to have to use their run game, or at least try to use their run game, because New England has a top 10 rushing defense and a top 5 passing defense. Or no. Rushing defense is 6th, and their passing defense is 9th. So they're top 10 in all 3 of these right here. 12th and third down percentage, which we can talk about that. So they don't give up a lot of points. Rushing defense is solid. Passing defense is solid. Total defense is pretty solid. Third down percentage, they're 12th. That means middle of the pack. Now, what does that mean? That means when their defense is on the field, they get off the field 38.5% of the time, which is middle of the actually, I won't say middle, kind of middle of the pack. They're upper middle of the pack, just outside that top 10. Second man out of that top 10. So it's pretty decent. Now, Houston defense is 6th, which means when it's third down, more times than not, they're getting, well, percentage-wise, it's not more times than not, but comparatively to the other teams, they get off the field. So it's really going to come down to their defense. Just do what they do. Get off the field on third downs. Don't give up a lot of points. They're second in points per game. Don't give up a lot of points. Rely on your number 1 defense. And when Houston's offense is out there, they have to stay on the field. They have to put up points. Because New England, they're going to put up points. They're second in the league at putting up points. So this can the Houston's defense wash the New England's offense? Let's say you wash it. Then it comes down to New England's defense, Houston's offense. Houston's offense is going to have to play better than the 19th offense in the league. Right? You see what I'm saying? So that's what it's going to come down to for that matchup right there. And last but not least, Rams, Bears. Honestly, at this point, I'm probably rooting for the Rams to win this thing because I'm a Matthew Stafford fan. And I love to see like older guys still do the thing, still dominate, and still show that they are contenders or can compete with how young the league is. Matthew Stafford, if he could win MVP and go on to win the Super Bowl and win Super Bowl MVP, triple crown. Triple crown. All right. Here we go. Rams. And this is how this process I'm showing you guys is how, when I look at teams matchup wise, how I break it down. First, I look at the numbers. I know the numbers don't tell me everything, but they are good indicators, right? Then I look at who's hurt, who's out, this, that, and the third. And then I look at, based on the numbers, what the other team's game plan has to be. So, like for the Houston one, I'm not saying Houston's offense isn't good enough to go out there and win the game. I'm just saying if they play like the 16th ranked offense in the league against, oh my God, I just went over there. If they play like the 19th ranked offense in the league against the New England Patriots defense, then they're not going to win the game. So that's how I like to break down the teams and kind of see what part of that team has to step up. So again, for this, Rams got the number 2 offense in the league behind Seahawks, right? Chicago 6. So we're looking at a top 5 offense, top 10 offense. Defensively, Rams 16th, right around that middle of the pack. Chicago's defense bottom 5. Okay, not ideal. Not ideal. 32 teams in the league, 27, bottom 5. Okay, not good. So what does that mean? It means this game is going to come down to Chicago's defense. Their defense has to step up. Very similar to like we talked about with Houston. Chicago's defense has to find ways to get off the field, which is tough for them because they're 22nd in third down percentage, right? But they're going to have to step up to get off the field and get their offense out there. Because Chicago, top 10 scoring offense. They put up decent amount of points, 25.9 on average. Now, the problem is they're going against the Rams, who's the number one points per game offense, which means they score the most points per game at almost 31 points per game. So Chicago's got to find a way to get off the field on third downs, get their offense out there, and let their offense score points. Okay, let them offense do what they do. Top 10 offense. We got to rely on the offense in terms of winning the game. But to do that, their defense has to step up and get off the field. Whether it's a turnover on downs, getting off the field and enforcing a punt, you got to figure it out. Drawing penalties on the offense, whether it's getting a false start, putting them in terrible. That starts with special teams, which is a part of the game that we don't talk about a lot. But special teams is important. If you can get a great punt and down the ball at the 1 yard line, their likelihood of scoring is extremely low. I wish I had the chart. There's a chart that shows you like your percentage of scoring based on your field position, but I might look it up. But that's what it's going to come down to. So that is that. Now, real quick, I do want to go over. I'll bring up the bracket real quick. This actually ended up being longer than I had planned on. But let's just go over the statistical leaders that ended the statistical leaders for the season. The official leaders. So passing yards, Matthew Stafford officially leads the league in passing yards this year at 4,707. Passing touchdowns, Matthew Stafford at 46. We talked about this a few weeks ago. He'll probably be in that mid-40s. I thought maybe he could break or get close to 50. But if he didn't have that one game, forget which game, but he only scored like one touchdown. So no. Anyway, receiving yards, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 1,793 yards. Receiving touchdowns, Devontae Adams, 14 receiving touchdowns. I believe he's the only the only NFL player to lead the league in touchdowns for 3 different teams. Rushing yards, surprisingly, James Cook, the third, finishes with the most rushing yards in the league, 1,621. Right behind him, Derrick Henry, 1,585 or 1,595. Jonathan Taylor at 1,585. So Derrick Henry squeaks past Jonathan Taylor by 10 yards, which we all thought Jonathan Taylor, he was on pace to rush for damn near 2,000 yards. But, Colts with Daniels going out and having to change their game plan kind of affect that. But rushing touchdowns, Jonathan Taylor gets rushing touchdowns at 18. Derrick Henry right behind him at 14. Interceptions, Kevin Byard at 7. And defensive tackles, 183 by Brooks. Sacks, Myles Garrett. Shout out to Myles Garrett. He breaks the sack record. He has 23 sacks on the season for Myles Garrett. All right. Now, real quick. All right. I found. Hold on. All right, so I want to show this chart and why field position matters. This is why special teams matter. As a heavy special teams guy in college, this is from Rutgers, but like a lot of universities probably have seen this or use some version of this. This shows your percent chances of scoring a touchdown or scoring points based on field position. So if you're backed up, let's say you're driving this way to score. This is the end zone you need to get to score. And you, for some reason, a punt, and it gets down from the goal line. It gets down between the 1 and the 10-yard line that you're backed up. You have a 3% chance of scoring a touchdown or points, right? As you keep moving forward, so between the 10 and 20, you have a 10% chance of scoring. From 20 to 30, 13%, so on and so forth. If you get to the other side, let's say it's a punt, they catch it at the 5-yard line, somebody runs it, and he gets down to the 55. You get down to 55, you have a 33% chance of scoring a touchdown, 60% chance of points. So that's field goal, right? 60% chance to the field goal or a touchdown. If you get the ball, let's say it's a really good punt return or really good kick return, once you get to the 40 and on, it's 50% plus. You get a 50-50 shot at a touchdown. And between the 30 and the 20, it's 75% chance of a field goal or a touchdown. 70% chance of a touchdown from the 2010. And if you get the ball at the 10-yard line, you have a 90% chance to score points. So field goal or touchdown, right? This is why field position is extremely important. This is why special teams is really important. Even though I feel like for the casual, it might not seem that important. Oh, he's going to fair catch it. Oh, he's going to yada, yada, yada. But it matters. If you get a punt and you down them on the 1-yard line, there's a 97% chance that you get the ball back and they don't score any points defensively. So this is extremely important. That's why special teams, I feel like, is a lost art in terms of talking about the importance of. But yeah, I wanted to show that. And before we sign off, I do want to go over the all-pro team has been selected for the NFL. So let's go over real quick. Some surprises, to be honest, but anyway. Offense, no surprise here. Matthew Stafford running quarterback. Running back, Bijan Robinson was a little bit of surprise for me, right? Bijan Robinson finished in rushing yards. He finished 4th behind James Cook, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson. And rushing touchdowns, Bijan Robinson, I don't think he's even listed in the top 15. Let me look at this season. Okay. Yeah, he had 7 rushing touchdowns. So he's like not even, I don't think, in the top 20. But rushing yards, fantastic, right? And what's interesting is he did have 1,478 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. He also had 820 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. So he had like 2,200 yards of total yards. But Bijan Robinson there. Me personally, I would have voted James Cook at the running back for first team because James Cook led. James Cook was tied 6th for rushing touchdowns and 1st in rushing yards. But shout out to Bijan Robinson. Fullback, we got Kyle. Wide receivers, Puka, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase. All purpose, Christian McCaffrey, no surprise there. Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson would have been somebody I voted in for all purpose, but for sure, Christian McCaffrey. Let's look at Christian McCaffrey's season. So, receiving, he almost had 1,000 yards receiving. 924 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. Rushing 1,202, 10 touchdowns. 17 total touchdowns and 2,100 total yards-ish. Oh, dude, that'd have been so sick if he had 1,000 rushing, over 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving in a single season. Okay, moving on. Tight end, Trey McBride, Arizona, dog. Left tackle, Garrett. Left guard, Joe. Center, Creed. Right guard, Quinn. And Pense, is that how you say that? Pense. Defense, Myles Garrett, Will Anderson, Micah Parsons, no surprise. Jeffrey Simmons, go Titans. Zach Allen for interior. Linebacker, Jack Campbell, Jordan Brooks, Miami, again, led the league in tackles, no surprise there. Corners, Derek Stingley, Quinyon Mitchell, no surprise there. Slot corner, Cooper DeJean. Safeties, Kyle Hamilton, Kevin Byard, again, led the league in receptions. No surprise there. Special teams, place kicker, Will, punter, Jordan, kicker, Ray Davis, punter, Shymare. I'm not going to say his last name. Shout out, go Tits. Special teamer, Devin Key, long snapper, Ross. Offense, second team, Drake May. Running back, James Cook. He's in there, second team. I probably would have flipped it if you're going to do that, though, low-key. I'd have had Bijan Robinson at second. But I think his ability to catch out of the backfield is probably what really gave him the leg up. Now, hold up now, because James Cook is also a Swiss Army knife when it comes to running back. He only had 291 though receiving yards. Anyway, fullback Patrick. Wide receivers Jordan Pickens, Ahmad St. Brown, Chris Ovale. So hope I said that right. All-purpose Bijan Robinson. So Bijan Robinson made all pro twice. He made first team running back, second team all-purpose. So I don't know if that's been done before. I'm sure Christian McCaffrey's done that before. But anyway, tight end Kyle Pitts, left tackle Trent Williamson, Quentin Nelson, left guard, Aaron Brewer, center, Chris Lindstorm, right guard, right tackle Daryl Wright, defense edge rushers Brian Burns, New York, Danielle Hunter, and Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit. Leonard Williams, Cameron Hayward, interior lineman, linebackers Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd's a dog. I've been watching some film on him. Ernest Jones the fourth. Cornerbacks Patrick Surtain, okay, of course. Second, Devin Witherspoon, Seattle, slot corner. Derwin James, safeties. We got Jesse Bates, Atlanta. Why is there an asterisk? I don't know. Then we got Hufanga and Xavier McKinney. Oh yeah, Xavier McKinney from Bay. Then special teams place kicker. Just to shout out everybody. I don't want to skip over people. Place kicker Brian Aubrey. Punter Michael Dixon. Kick returner Cavante Turpin. Oh yeah, Turpin out of Dallas. Punt returner Marcus Jones, New England. Special teamers Delshon Phillips and long snapper Andrew DePola. All righty. So I just wanted to shout out those people. And then as we get into like Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, all this stuff, we'll go over that when that gets announced. That will be before the Super Bowl. But this went a lot longer than I expected. But the next one won't be as long because it'll be less teams. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys for watching the NFL coverage. I will catch you guys next week, and we'll talk divisional recap and looking into the conference championships. All right. So, deuces.